DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is officially live. Now you can legally bet on all your favorite sports anytime and anywhere, right here in Ohio with DraftKings. For a limited time, new customers who sign up with code DEFEND and bet $5 or more will receive $200 in bonus bets instantly. DraftKings has the best features, including same-game parlays, player props, and more, with fast and easy payouts right at your fingertips. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers can use promo code DEFEND to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on anything. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code DEFEND. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over and physically present in Ohio. Valid one offer per first-time depositors who have not already redeemed $200 in free bets via pre-launch offer. Minimum $5 deposit and wager. $200 issued as bonus bets. Eligibility restrictions apply. See dkng.co/OH for terms.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Conspiracy Theater 3000. That's right, not hidden in plain sight. What you have all been waiting for is finally here. Or maybe you haven't been waiting for it. I don't know. I've been waiting for it. So that's what really matters. This week, we start off our Conspiracy Theater 3000 podcast, and it's debuting here and now. And we're going to start off with a meet and greet between the three of us. That's Andy Rouse from The Deep Share, Drew Missen from Missing the Point, and myself, your humble host, Moral Bob. So, I'm going to shut the fuck up now because I'm tired. Here we go.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
At some point, they engaged in genetic engineering and mixed their genes with the genes of Homo erectus.
Because these guys own our government. They print our money, and they own not only the government, but they own you. You are their property.
I said, we're going to war with Iraq. Why? He said, I don't know.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order.
Lost a lot of freaking gold material, but
always.
Damn it, Bob.
The gold
Damn it.
always happens when we're not recording, man. I mean, when you think about it, for fucking decades of my life, I've been having intense conversations with people and going, man, I wish that was recorded. Man, do you remember what we were talking about last week? I don't know, like 10% of it, you know?
I wish I could listen back to some of the conversations I had on mushrooms or acid.
I was just going to say that too.
Like some of the like late teen, early 20s me just fucking annihilated, staring at a fire or something, contemplating the universe.
I remember one time I took a bunch of ecstasy and mushrooms, and I think that was called, that's not candy flipping because that was with acid, so I don't remember what it was called, but whatever. And I remember the next day, this guy came up to me, and we were at UMass Amherst with this big fucking party college. He was like, dude, what were you on last night? Because you were saying some things that like made way too much sense. And I'm like, I don't remember any of it, man. That's not fair. I want that back.
Right? I know.
See, for me, I was never into that stuff growing up as a kid. I was just the blackout menace when it came to drinking. I'd go out and not remember getting home or waking up in strange places.
I've done that.
Yeah, me too.
I was telling Kaylee the other day, I said, you know, I used to drive home from the bar and I'd walk to my car seeing double. So I'd just drive home covering one eye because then you don't see double anymore.
Yeah. Close one eye.
Hey,
that works sometimes.
Just cover one eye and then the double
that's
is
just
gone.
Subtraction. That's maths.
It was great. I would take back roads. It was in my hometown, so I knew all the streets, and I could just take back roads, drive real slow with one hand over an eye. Made it home every time.
You know, you never wanted to be noticed, right? Just be low profile. My buddy, on the other hand, was always like, he never cared about that. He always felt like he should be able to live however he wanted to, regardless of anything. And he was always perplexed by the law and everything. It was weird. It was like he was abducted from another time period or something.
I mean, I'm perplexed by the law. Like as long as you're not hurting anyone, then what's the fucking problem?
He was always mad. He was mad that Wranglers could like take their doors off and their top off and stuff. And he had a Cherokee. So he was like, fuck it. He took his doors off. He took his tailgate off. And all we had was this blue fucking tarp dangling down the backside. And there was like 10 of us in there. And we were all wasted at like 3 a.m. Cops weren't too happy about that. And he was just so confused. He's like, I don't get it. We were all perfectly safe.
Right. Yeah. Not bothering anybody.
Yeah, come on, man. If we fall out, it's our own problem.
Yeah. I had a Jeep that I threw a couple people out of. Hammered driving home. Like just wasted. No doors on the Jeep. Take a turn and they're not holding on. And
nice.
Like just tumble out the door. Like, sorry.
Whoops.
Tuck and roll.
You decided to get in a vehicle with no doors with a drunk person. Like, and you didn't buckle up or hold on. And that's on you. I'm sorry. That's your fucking fault.
Yeah, that same friend once barrel rolled that same Jeep through the woods, and he had this gigantic thing, this like 5-gallon thing of change, of like money in the car, and it was just everywhere, all over the woods for months.
I need $1.50. I'm gonna go walk around.
I gotta go to my fucking my wild bank.
Does Sasquatch find tree fitty?
Yes.
Sasquatch is the Loch Ness
my
monster.
money.
Loch Ness monster just wanted tree fitty.
Man, have you seen any good fucking monster movies lately? I don't think I've seen a good monster movie in a while.
Not that I could think of.
I mean, other than Psycho Gorman, that movie.
Yeah,
I know we were talking about it before I hit record, but dude, Psycho Gorman. Movie. Anybody listening, it's like Psycho Gorman's where it's at. It's so lame and cheesy.
The love of the B movie.
I think sometimes you could get the creature features. It's hit and miss, but usually those tend to be pretty good. They're that bad that they're good to watch.
There was a lot of good ones in like the 90s and early 2000s for sure that I grew up watching.
There's a bunch of really shitty ones on Amazon. There's one called Llamageddon.
Nice.
And it's about like a zombie llama. I haven't watched it yet, but it's on the list for sure. Like I said, we go through and we'll just watch trailers of just like we'll find something ridiculous and then you go look at the recommended movies on Amazon, and Amazon like has a very low threshold to have your movie on their site. Apparently,
has to be over 30 minutes and then it's done.
God, there is some shit that looked like it had like a $12 budget and they had like 2 days to shoot it.
That's rough.
There's some really low budget, terrible shit on there that's just awesome to watch because it's so bad. And you never know. I mean, like Napoleon Dynamite cost like $25,000 for them to make or something, and it was a massive hit. It was huge.
That was amazing. I fucking loved that movie. And that was a movie that was not like a total sensation either. It was kind of like cut right down the middle. Like you either loved Napoleon Dynamite and like kind of got it on some cerebral level, or you didn't and thought it was weird and didn't like it.
I hated it when it came out. And then
I knew that guy. Like that, not him, John Heder, but like I knew that guy, even though I was not from the middle of nowhere. There was a few of those guys in my school.
Yeah.
So
I think that's why a lot of people resonate with that, because that guy was like a late 80s, early 90s awkward high school kid.
Right.
And we all either were that person or knew that person.
Yeah, man. And some of those kids, like I had a kid like that was just wicked awkward. He would have tater tots in his pocket most likely, but he ended up having a fucking hit list, and he was like writing down like all kinds of ways to create weapons at home and shit like that. I was like, oh my God, this guy's This kid's intense. I don't think I was on the list, thank goodness. I was always really nice to him, you know.
God, we had this kid in our high school, and he'd drink 3 like 1.25 liter bottles of Coke each day, like the huge ones, and he'd walk around every day with it every day of the year for about 3 years in senior high school. And surprise, surprise, he ended up with diabetes and lost a foot.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, shocker.
Fucking soda man.
Who
Yeah,
could
I had
have
a
seen
friend
that
addicted
coming?
to it.
No, completely
Soda
surprised.
sucks.
Yeah, you don't say. You got diabetes and lost a foot. And you drink like 2 giant Cokes a day.
I can't even say diabetes without thinking of Wilford Brimley, which makes me think of John Carpenter's The Thing.
It makes me think of Ewoks, that TV.
Or
movie.
Ewoks. That was amazing. His appearance, if there's Star Wars fans out there that don't know of the amazing Ewok Adventures movies.
And again, he just plays
what is
himself.
it? Battle of Endor?
There's,
and he just plays himself.
The battle.
He's just
for
a grumpy
Endor.
old man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's totally just himself, like just being all grumpy and everything. It was great. Or Cocoon, of course.
Yes.
Cocoon. That was a stellar movie. That needs to go on the list, man. I haven't seen that movie in decades.
Hell
And I
yeah.
bet there's some crazy shit in there. God, I haven't watched that movie in ages. Or like, have y'all seen Batteries Not Included?
Yes,
I haven't
that was a huge
seen it
one we watched as a kid. Yeah, it was
probably
awesome.
20 years at least, 30 years. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, probably like
we
30
probably
years.
rewatched it maybe a year ago or so. I think I watched it with Kaylee and my oldest son.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a pretty cool movie. I like it. It holds up.
Yeah, we'll have to check that out too. Well, you know, it's what's great about this is like we could do a lot with it, like with the format. You know, this is kind of our meet and greet kind of episode, and it's like we don't have to necessarily cover just a movie and then call it a day. We could have many segments of the show. You know, we could do different things.
I like the idea of at least having clips or something that we watch.
Yeah, definitely.
And comment live action style, old Mystery Science 3000 style.
That would be great too.
Whether or not we have, if it's just clips, every now and again, do a whole movie. Like
we could
where we just watch and then like we could pause it and be like, oh wait, hold on, this is fucked up. Like, and that's
well,
the
the
beauty
commentaries
of it
could be our bonus odes or something, you know, like our 2-hour fucking, you know, as soon as you see this on the screen and hit it up, you know, listening for this bell, line it up with this sound or something. You know?
Yeah, we could lay it into topics like the representation of fathers through cinema and how that changed from the 80s to the 90s and now.
Oh hell yeah!
Pick our own examples and talk to them, all sorts of stuff.
We can do dystopian futures. We can do like
predictive
mid-century stuff, like what is it? The Brave New World and War of the Worlds, and
I'd love to do
new
like,
War of the Worlds coming out.
I would love to. Yeah, we could dive into the whole like alien agenda forced upon us over the past like 70 plus years, and alongside it, the marriage of the alien agenda with transhumanism and the tech takeover of the world and all that kind of shit.
Yeah, I mean, there's endless movies, TV shows, short series. I mean, we could do V.
Have you guys? Yeah, dude, V is and I was just about to say, have you guys ever seen Childhood's End?
Yes. Have you read the book?
That sounds crazy.
And the adaptation was incredible. It was like it might have been like a full limited series, like 10 episodes, or it could have been like 4 long ones, but it was like, it might have been sci-fi, it might have been Sky.
Yeah, I think it was four like hour long movie.
4 like hour and a half or something.
Yeah.
It was all about this alien race that comes to Earth and basically says, do not be afraid. We are here to save you. And like, we need a representative from your race to meet with us. And I can't even talk about it. Like it's so hard to talk about. Like, we'll have to admit like ultimate spoilers ahead, because it's such a, like, especially the big twist. Like there's a couple twists, but the big one about who they are and everything. It's dude, like looking
and the links to human history. That's what got me in it.
Yeah, man. And like from a conspiratorial mind, it's like, whoa, what does this say? You need to find it. I can't remember what channel it aired on. Childhood's End. It was originally who the hell wrote it? is it? It's not H.G. Wells. Who the fuck wrote that?
While
Talk
you're
amongst
finding that,
yourselves.
while you're finding that, maybe that could be like a first bit of a theme we focus on, like preparation for Project Bluebeam, because they're definitely pumped in all these science fiction, alien invasion, dystopian type of movies, all within a short time frame of each other.
Oh, absolutely.
That's
Yeah,
definitely
this is
a
Arthur
focus
Clarke.
on. That's
Sir
it,
Arthur
R.C. Clarke.
Sir Arthur Clarke. Remember that? But yeah, Arthur C. Clarke, like he was like one of the first pioneers of the sci-fi genre in general.
Mm-hmm.
So how about that? Yeah, and Bob, you got to watch that shit. Oh man, and anybody listening, please find Childhood's End. It's like a 4-part series from the early 2000s, I think.
Yeah, and phenomenal actors in it. Phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For a book adaptation, it's really quite good. Like Brave New World, that series was actually quite true to the source material, which was really good.
And as well as V, because the V, I mean, the original was good, but like I think they did a pretty good job in the newer series that was like, or again, late 90s, early 2000s. That was a really good series.
Was that one that got cancelled because of the writers' strike? There was so many good shows that were out there, then they all got canned.
I remember Lost had a really short season that year. I was a Lost head. Were you guys Lost freaks? Like I was. I fucking loved that show.
I've only watched like 3 episodes.
That was the first show ever that I ever watched where the idea of like binging and like freaking out and waiting for the next episode will be like, that was before it felt like it was a thing in every show, like every drama. Right. Like most dramas at the time, there was always these mini arcs in all the episodes, and you know, nothing too drastic was happening. I don't know how to describe it. It was like a different level of
that shows like a metamorphosis. It's not, you can't just watch some random episode of Lost. You can shows like, you know, the X-Files. You know, you can watch a random X-Files and you're not going to be completely lost.
Right.
Where ironically, if you do that with Lost, you're going to be like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Like you have to watch it. Like I think the first episode I watched of it was somebody else was watching it, and so I watched part of it, and it was like well into like multiple seasons, and I was like, this is the most confusing shit ever. And it seems really stupid.
I would like to go back and watch it now. Like, what might they be saying about like a lost territory?
Yeah,
I tried watching it. We tried watching it that long ago.
And didn't it end up that the whole thing was a dream?
No,
like limbo type of a deal.
Kind of, but only part of it. Like like everybody thought it ended. Everyone was like, see, we knew it. It was all a dream. It was like, no, that's not what they said. Or like the island experience happened for all of them, but that last season was a dream, you know?
Okay.
It was like pre-death.
Yeah,
I mean, spoiler alert. They were all having their own illusions that they were still alive, and that.
So if you haven't watched Lost, thanks a lot, Andy. You ruined it for us. Come on.
Yeah,
15 fucking years ago.
Years later.
Yeah,
but the problem with that show,
we're going to talk about Total Recall at some point too. So you know what? So watch it.
They had
everything.
The problem with Lost was that it had flashbacks, flash forwards, and flash fucking sideways. What is a sideways flash? That just ruined it, made it so confusing, even for people who did watch every episode.
I think a lot of times, the thing is, I think they ended up where they really wanted to be. A lot of people didn't like the ending. I loved it, but there was a huge portion, and probably maybe partly because of the writer's strike, it was such a fucking mess. Also, the fact that J.J. Abrams created that pilot, and then like, I can't remember if it was like a bidding war or whatever, but like, you know, a network bought it and assigned writers and directors and everything. And Lindelof and another guy got it, or Weiss. Yeah, Weiss and Lindelof. So these guys come in and have to pick up the pieces of this insane pilot with like 15 different plot lines that J.J. Abrams just like, here you go. So they had to try to make sense of all that shit to get to that like cohesive ending. And I applaud their efforts there. I don't even know if I got their names right. I think Weiss was one of them.
There was actually a show that came out, I think it was 5 or 6 years before Lost, and it was pretty much the same storyline, but the plane crashed in the middle of the Amazon.
Really?
and it got really good until they canned it, just like all things.
It's like,
Damn.
what's the name of that show? It was kind of cheesy. The first season was okay, but it was kind of poorly written and acted. But the premise was really good, and it was about this flight that disappeared for like 10 years or something and comes back, and like the people on the airplane didn't know they were gone for 10 years. But
Manifest?
yeah,
That's
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Manifest, dude.
I didn't watch it, but it looked okay. It
That
looks
show
pretty good
was
for a network show.
fucking crazy. Like the premise was good, and like it was shot well. It was done okay. A typical kind of, ABC Thursday night movie, TV show,
Yeah.
But like it was really cool. Like I think I watched the first season, and it was cool to watch kind of the character arc and how they were all trying to figure stuff out, and they were finding out that there were people behind the disappearance, and like it was pretty cool. I probably should go back and rewatch it now.
It sounds pretty good.
Because I think I can speak for all of us that we've had so much intellectual growth in such a short period of time. I mean, the past couple of years have been crazy. I was always a conspiracy theorist, but I didn't do the rabbit hole thing, years ago. Like I was just like, yeah, fuck it all sucks.
Right, like they're all out to get you kind of attitude. Fuck the government.
Right. Yeah, I didn't think too much about anything. I was an atheist, so I was kind of a nihilist at the time, for not like a crazy nihilist, like fuck it, nothing matters, but just like, man, who cares?
Right. Yeah.
Like, who gives a shit? So we didn't go to the moon. Who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. I got to get up and go to work tomorrow. Like, fuck.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
The latest show that I've watched that I went back and rewatched because I liked it originally. I thought I'd give it a go again, but post the past 2 years where we see things very differently now. I'm watching it and I'm like, holy shit, I could go down a rabbit hole just watching this show. Have you ever seen Helix before? Sci-fi
wait a
series?
minute. I think I saw the first season.
Global pandemic of an unknown virus.
That's right.
Ruling elites that are immortal, trying to control humanity because there's too many people and they want to cull them so they can take control again.
No.
Selectively breeding humans for the right traits. It's nuts.
There was like brothers involved,
Antarctica,
right?
yeah, brothers, it's Antarctica.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, see that show. Yeah, that was good. At least the first season that I saw was sick. I might have seen the first 2 seasons. I can't remember. But that was a pretty cool series. That was definitely, there's a lot of shows that you don't think about. And then you look back on, you're like, oh, look at all the themes involved in this. It's like
even The Last Man on Earth, that comedy series.
Oh god, that show's crazy.
I haven't
2017, 2018 it started, I think, and it's the pandemic.
It was a pandemic that wiped out the entire world.
And they have the flashbacks of when the virus is happening, and there's people with masks on, hand sanitizing. There's signage that looks exactly like what the signage was up in the past 2 years.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy when you look back and see what they told us everything.
I don't know if you and I talked about this, but do you remember the show People of Earth?
It
was like
that sounds really familiar.
It was like a network TV show. It was about alien abduction support groups. It was pretty great. But there's a newer show that's about aliens that's pretty funny, and it's really fucking solid. It's called Resident Alien. And it's a comedy about this alien that's supposed to be here to wipe us all out, but he's like falling in love with humanity.
Oh, and I saw a trailer for that.
Yeah, it's the guy, I can't remember his name, but he's fucking Alan something.
Alan Tudyk.
Yes, he's in Death at a Funeral, the original British version. He does a lot of voiceover work and shit like that, but he's great. He's so funny. But the show is it's weird that it's a network show, right? But the agendas that they press are very surprising. Like typically you see really dumbed down bad storytelling on a lot of these network shows, and they're usually pushing like narratives in even the subtlest form. They're pushing narratives, right? But on the other hand, like this show, this alien like hates kids are stupid, but yet he's starting to appreciate these like the children of the earth and all this stuff. So it's completely the opposite message as like that old, well, typical nihilistic aversion towards children and everything that's usually in a lot of these network shows. A lot of the humor's like that usually. And another thing I see is that like it takes place in a small town, right? And the small town has this opportunity to have this gigantic corporate monster move into the town and like basically, it's like people are torn in the town between like, oh well, this will make everything better and this will make everything worse, right? And the whole moral of the episode about that was driven around how hold on to your roots and go back to the way it was and like all that kind of stuff, and not even just go back to the way it was, but hold on to what was, and so they don't have the big corporation move in. It's just weird to see those kind of agendas being shown on big network TV shows. I mean, because you also see blatant programming in that level of show and that level of entertainment. So I don't know. It's just confusing. Are we dealing with white hats versus black hats? I've heard that a lot. I mean,
it could be, but I don't know, man. I think
black hats. I think.
Right. I think it's more two factions of the bad guys, that are just fighting over
it's different crime families trying to do the same thing, but they're
in different
trying
ways
to decide who's the boss.
Yeah. So I just did an episode, big roundtable on like this old world stuff, and this guy Narco Longo, this awesome name, he was kind of giving us an astrological perspective on those kind of two crime families, and he broke it down towards like the Jupiter people and the Poseidon people, and once again you can like trace the symbolism right back to Snake and Eagle, and it's like the sea people versus the air people, and it's the Enki versus Enlil, and it's just this polarity, and these two ideas are coexisting, and I think logical minded people can see the good and bad in both of the ideologies that are pushed forward. But it's like, I think it's our job to kind of untangle what is like super tangled up between these two ideas, and like kind of see who's who and what's what, how it's being presented to us, because one way is like esoteric and the other way is exoteric, right? We see this like archaic revival happening. That's the disguise over like this revealing of how everything's done. Meanwhile, we have still all the censorship and still all the, you know what I mean? So it's both of these factions working in the opposite way. And maybe that's the whole point. I don't know.
Talking to the factions idea, have you noticed the theme around like the apocalyptic movies, like massive disaster ones? The governments of the world always know what's coming and they keep it quiet, and they slow burn society. They let things happen so that they can control what's about to happen.
So we're always focused on like the characters that we focus on are always the government agents and people close to the government. So like they're always in the know, and the public is just the screaming many.
Well, and they're the saviors.
Fire in the background.
They're the saviors.
Exactly.
We have to. We have
it's
to
cruel
be
to be kind.
About it.
Cruel to be kind.
Yeah, we got to make sure that we keep everybody from panicking. And like, dude, no. Like,
it's funny, the most recent Thor movie, I didn't see it, but my wife suffered herself through it. She said it was like
dog shit.
She said it was really horrible. But I was like, I keep hearing, and I will admit I've seen a couple little clips, so I agree that like Christian Bale's character like carries the movie. She's like, it would if he was in it at all. He doesn't have enough time at all. And of course his character is all about like killing the gods who don't give a fuck about anybody. But then she said that at the end of it, it's all like, sorry for spoilers, but basically it's like just appeasing the narrative in some way. Like he gives into his ego, he gives into his desires to see his daughter again or some shit at the end, instead of the greater goal of destroying the fucking gods and all that.
Yeah.
It's
the bad guy becomes a good guy again. Like
yeah, of course. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So like, sorry if that ruined it for any nerds that love.
No,
I'm sorry. I'm not using that derogatory, but
I heard it was just okay.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, he
Ragnarok was fucking rad. Like
Ragnarok
and to follow up
Ragnarok
with that one, it's just like, meh.
Did you guys see what the next Captain America is?
Oh Jesus, no.
New World Order.
New World Order.
What?
Yeah, and if you
Of
just
course
here,
there
let's
is.
read the description. I'm on IMDb right now.
Oh
Hang
my
on.
god.
Well, while Andy's grabbing that,
Captain.
here's a fun fact for people playing at home. The Hemsworth brothers grew up in a place not too far from where I live.
Oh, no
Nice.
shit.
Yeah.
You know, it's great. I was watching something, some stupid ass game show that, like, I think it was Howie Mandel was the host. And this she was like, well, fun fact. And he goes, hey, it might be a fact, but how about we determine whether or not it's fun?
Wow, I was gonna look up the plot, but it says the plot is being withheld.
Well, they're trying to figure out how many people of color and how many trans-abled people they can have.
Maybe, or they're trying to figure out, like, all right, what angle do we want to go with on this New World Order movie? It's so weird. Like, so
I mean, that's what Hydra is anyway.
it is. So,
like, it's
but now
shocker.
they're really just it's just so on the nose of things. It's just weird to see. Like, okay, why is
I think they
this-
know they can get away with it. Like,
yes,
there's shows like Utopia,
right,
which is basically Bill Gates pushing fake
that was
meat
so good.
to push a vaccine that was going to lower the population through sterilization.
right? Yeah.
And then
And
there's
the main
another
conspiracy
one called,
theorist like starts to believe him, doesn't he?
right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another one called The Feed, and it's about this company that basically inserts your smartphone into your head, like the Neuralink.
Mhm.
You know, it's very much Tesla-esque, where it's this big corporation that runs everything here.
Right.
Oh
And
God, there's a sorry to interrupt. There's an episode of The Outer Limits, which is very much The Feed, but
Really?
the problem, there's a computer virus that gets into the system and it starts killing everyone that's got it. And the last few people to survive are the
shit.
holdouts who know how to read books, because everyone just downloads the information. No one can
Right.
read.
yeah, well, it's like
shit.
have you
Saves them
seen
has to Microsoft book and learn
what
how
is
to
it?
hack.
The Book of Eli?
Yeah,
Yes.
the Bible turns
Denzel
up.
Washington.
Yeah. I think the Bible is there for reasons that no one talks about in regards to that movie. Like, oh, why did it turn out to be the Bible was the only book? Or if that's a question in the threads,
Well, and at the end,
no one's talking about the real
at
reason.
the end, they don't have the Bible though. It's blank. It's fucking
Right.
Braille.
I
Like
forgot about that.
he recites it out of his memory.
Yeah,
And so
that's
it's just like
Ah, so you
that
have the oral
movie is
tradition.
about history is just whatever you're willing to believe.
Well,
Like he says it, and
it's one
they
story
write it
different away.
down. You know, he supposedly knows the whole Bible, and he's the one that dictates it, and they write it down. And it's just like, how the fuck do you know what he's like? He could have
That's
said
the-
anything he wanted to.
That's the
Maybe.
problem with oral history. I love oral history, and it's the way that we've handed down our history between like First
Sure.
Nations peoples
Yeah.
for the longest time. But we know, even within our own context, if you don't respect the story or your roots, things get changed slightly. I tell a story to a mate, he tells someone else, it comes back to me, and it's completely overblown. Or
That's
things
why
have
I
been
like
added.
the Bach saga, because literally the root language system doesn't allow lies in the language. It's fucking nuts the way it's set up, and that's a whole nother thread. We'd have to dig into that, but we're not going
Yeah,
to.
I still need to look into it because I'm still super interested. I just know it's gonna soak up a lot of time and energy
is.
to really get into
is.
it. And
Admittedly,
I have not had the time to dedicate to it, and I don't want to disrespect it by not dedicating the right.
I appreciate
attention
that,
to
man.
it.
I really do appreciate
dude,
that.
there's
Instead of
certain
just giving
things
it a
that I
once
just-
over and being
yeah.
like, "Fuck this,"
There's certain things that I just kind of have a list of, like, hey, when I finally have some time to get back into rabbit holes, there are these certain things that I want to look into. I've just gotten to the point where my extra time is spent, playing with the kids or doing something in the yard or building something, and I've changed my focus. And that's that's why I want to do this shit with you guys, because I've just gotten to where I'm like, you know what, I just want to have fun with my friends.
Well, that's the whole point too, anyway,
that's all
right?
I wanna do.
After all the rabbit holes, anyway, you're supposed
Right.
to be able to enjoy your life, and yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I can always hear a theory and be able to kind of digest it, chew on it, and then give my ideas on it fairly quickly. just based on all the information that bounces around in my stupid ass head anyway. It's the same as hearing a new theory or whatever is just like watching a movie you haven't seen. Like you're able to digest it in real time and go, okay, what did this mean? What do I think this means? What could it mean? Where
what do they say
these
it means?
crumbs? What are they trying to present in this piece? So
that's the fun of speculation. We can just speculate on all the things we know and just throw stuff around and have a good laugh while we're doing it. That's the appeal of this, I think.
Yeah.
I love how like in the movies we love, like the predictive programming is not as you would expect, where like you'll find like a tidbit about ancient lost history in like a romantic comedy or something, and then you'll find like a political little something or other, little Easter bunny or Easter egg in like a fucking Disney movie. You know what I mean? It's not parallel. You're not going to find like espionage secrets in a fucking Bourne Identity movie. You're going to find like ancient Egyptian shit hidden inside of a Bourne movie.
Right.
You know what I mean? Is that a good example? Like
it's
kind of skewed in a way that you're not going to see it.
Well, because they're tuning you in.
Angle.
They're tuning you into one thing while showing you something else. So you
exactly.
You overlook the shit that they're telling you.
It's not seeing the magician's hidden hand, isn't it?
Like I can't even imagine how much like. Go ahead.
My son is so rad when he watches shit. He's kind of got a conspiratorial mind because he's my fucking son.
Yeah.
It's just kind of what it is. And I've talked to him about a lot of stuff. And he was watching like Scooby-Doo of all things, and they started talking about Anunnaki.
Yeah.
In Scooby-Doo. He was like, Dad, come here, check this out.
And they're selling the fucking ancient alien version of it too, just like the government wants, just like History Channel and whatever's connected to that wants.
Like,
it's all aliens.
I think it's hilarious. Like, and he was playing this game on his iPad called, like, it's some stupid ass game, some silly game called like skiing. It's something really simple. It's called like skiing, but there's like this conspiracy theorist dude that like guides you. You're like coming down this mountain, and he guides you and tells you where Bigfoot is, and like tells you that not to believe the government. like this dude's like, the government's coming after us, man, and so we got to make sure that we don't like.
That's amazing.
He'd be like, Dad, check it out. Like this game that I just came across, it has all this stuff in it. And I'm like,
can you ask your son what the name of that game is so I think it's play that game?
How long have you been playing it for, Bob?
I'm looking it up on Steam.
I haven't played it. He just showed it to me. I don't really do the video game thing. I kind of grew out of it. Like if I had an old school NES, I would probably play some ridiculous games. I'm a big Zelda fan.
Super Mario All-Stars, that was my one.
I am a sucker for a polished new game in some cases, but a lot of times what I find on Steam is, Steam is open source. Creators can put up their games for sale wherever they want, or free games, demos, whatever. So the creativity behind the gaming industry, what I'm seeing most is survival games. What I'm seeing is people building games where you're out in the wilderness, whatever plot line they choose, there's a million of them, but you're building, you're surviving, you're raising animals, you're exploring your local area, you're defending your territory.
Doesn't that underpin what humans naturally want to go to?
Yeah. And like, I guess on one level you could say, oh, see, that's where they're pushing us. And that's why we're thinking that way. It's like, yeah, but also I think we're so fucking sick of what society has become, and we're recognizing the simplicity of what it's meant to be. And I think, people are going to get swept away in some ways into the VR shit. But as Christopher Knowles, guy just talked to recently, he often says like, it ain't going to fucking last. Meta's going to tank. Facebook's going to tank with it. Like none of this is
it's an
good
allegory.
enough.
I think Meta's just an allegory. It's just an allegory for the world that we live in now, because most people's worlds that they live in is completely fabricated. They get it from their Facebook feed or their Twitter or their TikTok. They don't get it from the real world. They don't analyze the real world. they don't go to the store and realize everybody's getting along and people aren't collapsing because they're fucking sick and shit. Like, they get their entire reality off of their phone or their computer.
Yeah.
And then the actual reality is side stuff. Like, they don't even take that in as reality. It's just, okay, I got to go to the store, and then it's back to their little phone world.
And they won't
Just
have
like-
to with the drone deliveries and everything.
Yeah.
And
Well, just wait till the AI algorithms based on your searches develop TV shows and movies catered specifically for you.
Yep.
People
I hadn't
aren't
thought about
stupid
that.
enough.
I think it already is.
I mean, shit,
I
they've
think
been
they can
kind of
already
doing that
read
in a
our-
way.
Yeah, they can already read our thoughts. Like, I've had it happen too many times where I didn't say anything out loud, didn't search for it, didn't nothing, and all of a sudden it's just popping up all over the place, and I'm just like, man, what?
Oh,
the
there's definitely something
fuck?
between like the relationship of like manifestation versus algorithms, and I think
Right.
that's a big point that people will
Well,
glob
think about
onto
this.
in terms of simulation hypothesis. Like, they'll look at algorithms and the act of like manifestation and go, see, we're in a computer. And it's like,
Right.
whoa.
Right.
Is
Well,
algorithm
these-
though like the version of what
It's a mimicry of what
a
consciousness
mimicry?
does.
And a mimicry of the Akashic record.
Yeah,
well,
yeah, exactly.
It's their poor man's version of it.
Think
And that's
about
what-
this. Like,
yeah, go ahead, Bob.
Like, if they're able to read our thoughts, well, these phones that are in our pockets, they're basically just receivers, and they've got crystal screens, and crystals can read very, very faint vibrations. So what if they're just picking up your thought patterns? Because once you think it, that's a wave. That's a
Oh, yeah.
wavelength that goes out into the fucking ether. And
Absolutely.
if you've got your phone next to you and you have a thought, that wavelength goes out, this fucking thing picks it up, and poof, there you go. You have your, and then they just say, oh, it's an algorithm.
I think this
Instead
ties
of telling
right
us what
back
the
into
technology actually is.
this kind of ties back into like what we were saying earlier about how like the stories repeat and everything, and like we're all this human story over and over again in different ways. It kind of comes into this where it's like, well, we're just constant. They've mapped out all the possibilities within a closed story or something, and they can predict not just like, they don't have to predict individuals' movements, because they can predict like ultimate cultural movements and things like that, especially once they set the parameters for how they want the cycle to be controlled. They can kind of anticipate the next cycle. I mean, we're not talking about like the next presidential election or who are they, making popular for this controversial perspective to be the president in like the early 2030s. We're talking like centuries ahead.
Right.
It's been however, with these groups, it seems that it's been a proven science to them that these cycles will happen, and they've always happened. And there is an esoteric way to go about it and an exoteric way to go about it.
Yeah.
And maybe one of those exoteric versions was that Atlantis of peace that we kind of remember collectively. But a lot of these times have gone the esoteric way, especially this one, where if there is some sort of natural cycle happening, like perhaps we'll bring it to like the geological perspective and say that the torrid meteor stream is going to come and bring with it something like a crossing planet like Nibiru or whatever, and it destroys half the planet or something. Like, if something natural is occurring, perhaps that exoteric peaceful society at some point in time was able to go underground with whatever we built under there long ago or something like that. But in this esoteric format, we get fucked while the few will survive it or something.
Right.
If we tie it back to movies, let's tie it back to movies.
Yeah,
though. If you
please.
think about it as movies and music, there's only so many combinations you can have of stories or notes or characters. It's all recycled.
finite.
Like
Yeah.
there's only so many possibilities you can have. It's
Yeah.
like what Chud X was talking about, how everything's Legos recently. Well, there's only so many combinations of a build you can have with Lego. Eventually, you're going to build something exactly the same as someone else.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's a great metaphor, because it's all the same, no matter what scale you're looking at. we have that problem. We are.
That's why I think it's funny when in the music scene they're like, "Oh, you stole my beat," and it's like, man, there's only so fucking many. Like,
right?
Like eventually, I'm gonna want a beat to what I'm saying, and I'm gonna try to create it, and I'm gonna find out you created it. What, I don't get to fucking put my song together? Fuck you.
It's the same as an artist. Like I'll make a painting or a drawing or something, and then within a time frame of a week, I'll see something that's so damn similar. I often think, have I looked at something unknowingly and just created something to replicate that, or is someone, or am I stealing? Or am I taking ideas from elsewhere in like the ethereal? I don't know.
It's both.
You all say, yeah,
because we're all doing it. Like, did you guys see Waking Life? That cool, like, kind of like stop motion animated.
Really long time.
Yeah, that's a great one. It's like, cartoon overlaid on top of like real film scenes of people being interviewed and stuff. And it's all about this kid being dead without knowing he's dead yet, and having all these interesting conversations with people. Fuck, I don't remember where I was going with that, but it was something off of what you guys just said. Shit, I'll come back to it. Oh, sorry, my bad. Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, that game is called Skiing Yeti Mountain.
All right, cool. I'm looking that up.
Yeah, I know it's on like it's on an iPhone app thing.
Okay, yeah, that must be totally mobile. Oh well. Anyway.
Yeah, it's probably a mobile only game. I don't know if it's just on Apple or what, but it's from my son playing it. It was really cool. I like seeing that kind of stuff, especially when it's geared toward kids.
Well, they're targeting kids more and more now, aren't they?
Right. Why can't we do it too? Like, cool. Okay, you're gonna freaking, like, you are grooming children. I am trying to arm them.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Like I always say, I'm raising a little John Connor. And the thing is he loves the sci-fi stuff. He loves the machines. He loves the robots. He loves all of that kind of stuff. But he also, if he's a robot, he's always the bad guy. If I'm a robot, I have to be the bad guy. Like, that's how it is. That's how all the video games are too. So it's like, it may be predictive programming, but it's also arming the right ones.
Yeah.
Let's take a trip down memory lane.
Okay, let's go.
Sure.
In our own lifetimes, what's the earliest memory you have of something that you think might have been predictive programming or conspiracy in something of your own childhood memory?
Terminator.
The big standout for me was Harry and the Hendersons. That exposed me to Sasquatch, seeing that as a little kid. And then Fire in the Sky scared the shit out of me one night as a 7-year-old, seeing that late at night.
Yes, Fire in the Sky was crazy, and I saw it super young too.
I mean, if we're including cryptids, then an American Werewolf in London probably ruined my life at about 8 years old. Even though it's supposed to be a comedy.
Last Starfighter, that's true.
Yeah, reptilians,
Flight of
right?
the Navigator.
Flight of the Navigator.
Dude, Flight of the Navigator. Have you looked back and seen the fucking spiral triangle on the sides of the steps and everything?
Oh, the pedo symbols.
Yep.
Not compliance.
Last time I watched it with my oldest son, and I was like, motherfucker.
It's everywhere. And he's abducting a kid.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see how many of Tom Hanks's films actually have that in them.
Oh God.
Well,
yeah.
Look at the premise of Big. He's an adult, air quotes, who likes to play with little boys.
Dude, and I was thinking about Big the other day, and I was like, is like that lady that had sex with him had sex with a kid.
Oh yeah. Well,
like,
at least
that was pedophilia.
Right.
Even Blank Check. You remember that one where the kid got the blank check from a guy who ran over his bike and he put $1 million in it? That kid makes out with a woman who's like a government agent in the movie.
I don't even remember that part of it.
And people just skim over that.
Oh yeah.
The limo driver is Tom Hanks's neighbor in The Burbs.
Yeah, that's a good one. The Burbs.
I can't watch that.
Burbs.
It's hard to watch that shit now because I don't even believe, like we don't know what's going on. Something bad is going on with that guy regardless. So it's like, I can't even enjoy any of those movies. And there was so many, admittedly,
now he's Geppetto.
Yeah, Geppetto.
Yeah, dude, what the fuck? Playing with little boys and it's AI all in one wrapped in together.
Pinocchio is crazy.
Pinocchio is clearly an AI.
We'll have
allegory.
to do some Disney movies. Well, Pinocchio is a lot of things.
Yeah,
so Pinocchio is pedophilia.
Yeah.
It's also like a false. It's like a carrot being dangled in front of you that's going to enslave you with Paradise Island.
Oh man,
It's the island that has everything you want, but you get turned into a jackass. Like,
wow,
how is
that's
that not modern
memories.
society?
Holy shit, Jesus, this is movies I haven't seen in so long.
Like, it's about a fake person wanting to be a real person.
Transhumanism.
There is so much in that movie. It's crazy.
We should definitely do that. Maybe there's some movies that we should do like ultra deep dives on, and they'll take a little bit. We'll have to do like a pre-discussion. We'll take some notes
and
like really put it forward. Because like you said, you're bringing stuff forward that I couldn't even remember before, and there's a lot there. So we could do that. We could probably do the same with like Sword in the Stone.
Dark Crystal.
Oh fuck.
Ooh.
Dark Crystal, they're literally sucking what they call essence out of little things that look like babies.
I don't know
if
I
makes
could
them younger.
I don't know if I would have to like fast forward the scene because my heart is too weak now as a dad, but like we could probably do Dr. Sleep. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah, that's a good one.
I mean, the book was fucking incredible. It did have the same premise, and Stephen King is, God knows, I don't know, connected in some way, maybe, who knows, but yeah, either he's trying to release the message or he's part of it or something, because he's been talking about, first of all, the
energy vampires,
of kids
Bob,
and
energy
childhoods.
vampires.
Energy vampires constantly in a lot of his different novels, like so many of his themes. So yeah, that might be a good one to do. It's pretty direct about the rubes.
Dude, that's the good thing about this show, is that we've got endless material.
Oh yeah,
like it's quite literally endless. We could do time periods, we could do decades, we could do like
themes.
We should just do a theme of the month that's loose, right? That we can play with throughout each month. But
we'd have to be able to. Andy, could you do 2 Saturdays a month?
It's possible. If we do it later on like this, would that be all right with you guys?
I'm cool with it.
It works for me. Like, you guys are bending over backwards. It's a Sunday for me, and I've got all the time in the world. So you guys are the ones that are shuffling your timetables around.
I just want to make sure I'm spending time with my family. Bob, you want to do the same, and because that's what comes first, and then afterwards we get to party and talk shit about movies, and I think that'd be great. We could probably do 2 a month.
Hell yeah!
I'm starting. Sweet. This is happening more and more. Where like the only way I'm scheduling shit like in a consistent way for podcasting is with other podcasters. So it's helpful.
Yeah, dude, it's the only, like, it's gotten to be where like that's all I want to do is like this show and my break from the abnorm, where I just kind of chat with friends.
Yeah, man.
Otherwise you're going to burn out chasing it. You're going to be chasing something for your show. When you kind of need it has to come to you.
Like I got a buddy of mine who's about to start a podcast, and we were having a really insane conversation the other day, and it was one of the first times that I got like really excited about a topic to do a podcast in a while, like a conspiracy style fucking podcast. I'm really excited about one my wife keep intending to do, which is basically just about the sky, and I'm sure it'll turn into 10 other topics as well.
Of course,
things usually do, but those are like the 2 things that I want to talk about, is like observable reality, and then like theories of what certain things could mean, like
hell yeah,
as applied to observable reality.
You could have someone on that's like on DMT. You could have someone do DMT on a feed with you and be like, what's your observable reality right now? Because it has to be just as valid as ours.
So
you know what I mean?
This guy that I'm going to do this one with, my buddy, he's got some land just north of us. And soon we are going to go to his land. And he said the woods are like super, super creepy. Nice. Like they're really, really spooky, kind of eerie woods. And so what we're going to do is we're going to record a little bit right before we go into the woods. And then we're going to go into the woods at night and possibly on something at least me.
Nice.
I might do something, and then we're gonna go into the woods, and then we're gonna come back out, and then we're gonna record the back end of the episode and talk about what. So the front end is gonna be kind of what we expect, and like what we're gonna do, and then the second half is gonna be what we experienced, what we saw, what we felt.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'm doing something similar soon. We have here in Massachusetts what's called the Bridgewater Triangle, and it exists within this like almost 200 square mile area. It's more like a big area in underneath Boston, and there are more Bigfoot sightings, orb sightings, UFO sightings, Dogman, like you name it, that happened there than like almost anywhere else.
Isn't there
nuts,
a particle collider on the coast somewhere around there?
Maybe.
No, they just open up doorways and things are stepping through. Then
perhaps there's like 17 of those around the globe. So
Jesus. I think there's one. I think there's one down there.
No
I think
shit.
there's a fucking particle collider somewhere.
I'll have to take a look. There very well could be. There's something going
be
on
opening
there.
up fucking.
But yeah, so that's not too far from me. That's like an hour from my house. So I'm getting a group of friends and a couple podcasters from the area together to go just do a camp out, like maybe a Bigfoot stakeout, and listen for some branches breaking, maybe do some whoops.
Tree knocks.
Yeah.
Bigfoot has kind of come back.
Yeah, it's so good.
Like everybody forgot about Bigfoot for a while.
That means they're gonna that means
he wasn't
reboot Harry and the Hendersons soon.
Oh God, I hope not.
They're gonna
hope not.
Bring back Lithgow. # bring back Lithgow.
That was such a good movie.
You guys almost, with the Bridgewater Triangle, what we're talking about just then, and CERN and all these particle colliders, that's pretty much the plot for The Mist by Stephen King, where the government's trying to open up a window to look into other dimensions, and they accidentally open a door, and everything.
I didn't know that was a part of the plot. I just know that because the movie, I think both of them, the book, the short story, and the movie end with the military rolling in. But damn, I didn't know that part of it. I don't remember that part of it at all. That's
Stephen
crazy.
King's an interesting fucking character.
Yeah, man. He's written so much. And what's interesting is that in a movie that we should cover together, because Bob and I were planning on covering it already, which is In the Mouth of Madness.
Yeah.
And that movie is literally about writing things into existence. And this Sutter Kane is he like writes an entire town around himself, and like it's nuts. So you can look at Stephen King's writing and like the manifestation of it onto the screen and everything. And a lot of times you don't even have to like put the blame or the responsibility or the conscious decisions into these writers or directors' hands. A lot of synchronicity and things that line up and align with these things are beyond fucking human touch, man. It's like synchronicity is bizarre on its own.
Well, it's like, what if something is just channeling through these people? Like, what if Stephen King is like, it's very Aleister Crowley, where like how Aleister Crowley wrote, and he felt like he was just a vessel. Like he described.
Well, Stephen King does that.
It just came through me.
He writes for like 8 hours
Stephen
straight.
King talk about?
I'm a massive Stephen King fan, and
me too.
Down to he got blind drunk when writing. He would go to a hotel, take a whole carton with him, slab whatever, get drunk, and just write.
He doesn't remember Cujo. He doesn't remember writing it at all.
What?
And with the Shining, he said in his memoirs, if you guys have, maybe you've read On Writing, his little amazing book, but he talks about writing The Shining and his alcoholism and how he didn't realize that he was an alcoholic and that he was in this deep dark pit, and that he had been writing about himself for those months until he threw a beer can and it hit the top of another beer can on an overflowing trash can, and it hit the ground. And he was like, my God, I am Jack Torrance. I never even realized it. And he had been writing this whole ghost story about himself, It's pretty
how's this for a mindfuck? He has a series called the Dark Tower series, where it's almost like the Avengers version of Stephen King, where he ties in all these different universes of books into one place, and there's a central tower which allows you to go to these worlds. In his own story, he runs himself over with a car. Like people who know Stephen King know he was run over by a car at one point.
Yes.
In the story, he writes himself into it as himself, and he travels into our dimension, air quotes, and runs himself over with a car so that he would write the story so the world wouldn't collapse. Because if he wasn't run over, he would never have written the story.
Well,
that's right. Yeah, because the Dark Tower was
about Dark Tower with like Idris Elba.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was absolutely
terrible.
butchered. They turned like 3 characters into one at one point. Like it was just garbage. It was a real shame. But the Man in Black, the Man in Black, Randall Flagg, that idea in Stephen King has been portrayed in many, many movies and books. Like many things like The Stand.
Yeah, he's the
that's
main
Randall
protagonist in The
Flagg.
Stand.
Yeah, he's the devil, you know.
I
would even venture to say that he's the inspiration behind the devil's character in The Prophecy, even though it's not Stephen King. Prophecy's great with fucking what's his name, Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. Viggo Mortensen playing the devil, and it is such a Randall Flagg character. It was just beautifully done.
That's another. We could do devil movies too.
Fuck yeah! Oh my god,
The Sixth Day with Schwarzenegger.
What's the one with Keanu Reeves and
Constantine?
No, where he's a lawyer.
Devil's Advocate.
Devil's Advocate.
Fuck, man. Yeah, dude. It's like the allure of the ego entirely is that movie. Like that, the devil is the ego big time. Right. That's a deep dive right
there. That's why I think God and the devil, I think it's like the force. It's like it like
absolutely.
God is just energy, and it's not good or evil. Like
I find this like Russian doll theory kind of thing where it's like deep down in our consciousness, like we build layers and layers and layers of self over and over and over again, and at the very core of it was like 2 best friends. You know what I mean? This binary system, because that's what physicality is. So it's like these 2 personalities. We probably are all dual personalities, like deep down, you know. And it's probably why we get the concept of best friend and lover and all this, because we probably have it inside first. Because I remember on acid, man, I had to promise myself I'd never forget him. So I don't know if that was real or not. But
like Dark Crystal is that way. Dark Crystal, the Skeksis and the whatever they're fucking called, they came from the same being.
The same species.
This is where like the concept of the yin yang not being 2 fish but being one, chasing its own tail, chasing its shadow. It's deep shit, man. I love it. And that's that's part of my theory on like the problem that we're in right now with history and religion and spirituality and consciousness, because half of our history has been turned into fiction, so we don't know it as history, and that fictional history has been spiritualized, and they do it so wisely as to mimic all the features of those internal experiences that we all have. So it's a beautiful way to completely skew the different parts of our experience here.
Yep. Yeah, they've just layered everything on to where we are so flooded with all sorts of different things, whether it's real poison or just stealing our energy, we don't realize what we actually are. And so they're just trying to cover up what we really are through all of these things, while also simultaneously telling us what we are and what we're capable of through movies like Hancock. Like I think that movie is very relevant into how men and women are possibly created in pairs, and how I think what that movie is an inversion, because when they're drawn together they get weaker, but I think it's the exact opposite.
Yeah, definitely. It's also like that's a great example, along with like Harry Potter as well, where the message is allegorical. But unfortunately, a lot of our contemporary free thinking community thinks that we are those physical superheroes, and we're that's where we're headed. Like that's another part of the psyop. It's like, yeah, you have the transhumanist stuff. Like, do you want to become half robot? You can do all these amazing things. You can live forever. Then you have no, fuck that. It's natural. We're going to become superheroes in the spiritual world. Like that's kind of taken from all these movies. And unfortunately, like, that's not how Hollywood operates at all. The magic doesn't come out of a wand. It's misdirection. You know what I mean? A superhero, it's not in the physical sense. It's in the putting the alchemical relationship between mind, thought, and action together in life and making things happen. You know, it's taking action for yourself.
But that doesn't take away the possibility that we are capable of like crazy shit.
Maybe.
Like, I recently have the theory that
I think the attunement that we have to be at is unreal, and half the people
but that's why they
think that we're near that
program us, and
absolutely
they detune us, and they
we have thousands of years to get rid of us.
They bombard us with different radio waves, and it's all to keep us from raising our vibrations and becoming those basically the heroes, the titans, the gods.
Let's look at it in a normie lens though, Bob. And this is going to support you really well. Take a photo of a beach in the 70s and a beach today.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the people. There's no one morbidly obese. People are pretty fit.
Yeah,
they look healthy. Then you look even further back. You look at the bones and the jaw structures and the teeth of people in feudal Europe. They were far healthier than what we are today. Their bones were denser. Their jaws were stronger. Wrongly or rightly, we've put ourselves, or someone else has done it to us. They've changed our bodies to a huge detriment. So it's not that we maybe had powers or abilities. We were physically better people than where we are now.
Compared to what we are right now. Yeah.
Significantly stronger in every measurable way.
And that's like, oh man, we could do a whole fucking theme on alien movies, like ancient alien type movies. I love that topic because I love ripping it to shreds, because that's some of my favorite shit. That's human history, again, relegated to fiction and fairy tales and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, and that's what they've done is they've managed to take reality and make it fantasy.
Yep.
And then they've created this alternate fantasy, which just gets us into a point to where we think what they're telling us that is reality is just silly. You know, they've managed to paint it in this way where it's like, oh, you think you can actually heal yourself or whatever. Like, that's just movie nonsense or whatever.
Right.
When in actuality, I think we could, I think we can just literally grab energy out of the ether. If we are at the right vibration, I think we can literally grab it and use it to do all sorts of things.
I'll have to say I do completely agree with you. I should kind of clarify what I was saying. That it's just the magnitude of what needs to occur before we get there. Right. I think is much greater than what most people think. They think we're like living in the fifth dimension all of a sudden, and it's all going to change overnight and stuff like that.
No, I think it's going to take a lot. And I think it could possibly happen within a lifetime. We could kind of deprogram ourselves and regain some of our powers. I think we've been so diluted and toxified that it's really difficult to get to where you have real power.
But I almost think that some of the answers to get back there are going to be too much for our contemporary minds to bear.
Yes,
in a way. I think a lot of it's going to have to.
You can't even talk to
more
people
than just
about
diet.
flat Earth with them without them fucking losing their goddamn minds. So
right. You can't talk about any alternative history with people that have held on to their version of history. I joined the history Reddit, and that was the biggest mistake I ever made. And it's not that I don't want to hear from professionals, but I want to hear from professionals that remember being open-minded. Even if they've had to collapse on some things. Whatever, I get it, that they can still remain open-minded and appreciate people like us,
Well,
because
even look at
won't talk to me,
things where people won't even listen to a reasonable representation.
Right. I want to know why flat Earth makes so much sense to us from our objective, observable perspective.
Right.
Even if I don't completely believe it or acknowledge it as truth, I still want to know why it's so damn relevant with it. You know what I mean? Like, why is it not going away?
I think whether we are on a ball or a flat Earth or whatever, I think it's good to know what kind of realm you're in, because it tells you what you are and what is around and what's capable and all sorts of things. And we got to take all of these things that they tell us. It's like one of those. Deej, you remember when we did 23, and he had to go to like the 23rd word on the 23rd page, to find, like, that's what they're doing with movies. You have to take, and stories in general, and the fairy tales that we're told, and all of this stuff, is they have just obliterated our history and just
stitching it all back together
all over the place. And we have to try to figure out the right words, the right parts to pull back together, to stitch together some kind of cohesive, like, okay, this makes sense. Like you and I have figured out that when it's 2 p.m. my time, your sun is coming up. That wouldn't happen on either the flat earth or the globe model. Like, it wouldn't happen on either fucking one. And like, when I realized that, I was like, wait a minute, like, this kind of blows I mean, I never hold any flat earth map to be true, because I think it's all lies.
Right. Or
so
guesses,
I don't really hold
best.
anything. When you look at ancient maps, they don't look anything like our maps. So
and some of those ancient maps are
those
mistaken
even
as
real.
physical maps when they're actually like maps of consciousness, like the Yggdrasil tree.
Or the tree life,
not a damn flat earth map or a magnetic north mountain like that. I mean, maybe there's some symbolism there for the magnetic north, but like most of the Yggdrasil tree is like a spiritual, familial kind of representation symbol, to the
it could just be us. Like
that's the other thing.
Like Andy, I love what you were talking about before. Even academia shoots itself in the foot, and if you're not paying attention or you don't have a memory of what's happened in the past, you've got no idea. Like, you look at, we use the word Proto-European for the first Europeans. The word Aryan, you're not allowed to say Aryan anymore because of a painter from Austria with a funny mustache who did some things in history. The word's Aryan, and that was the very first root language.
Well, I recently posted something. I posted a beautiful picture of the Tuatha De Danann, which is this Irish folklore, or about the Fey folk or fair folk. This picture of them with like long blonde hair and bright skin, riding horses. They're supposedly the mythical creatures that were here first in Ireland. And I said, a helpful hint when studying antiquity, especially from the lens of like ancient aliens, just take the word aliens and switch the L for an R sound, and it's ancient Aryans, because that's more likely what we're dealing with,
Yep.
Yeah, and again, not a bad term, a term that's been demonized because of something that happened.
Well, and they do that. They taint the things that
because they can't create their own bad things. Yeah, they can't create.
I look at everything as a possible inversion.
Oh, absolutely.
What if it's completely flipped from that?
Well, and also the Bach Saga research that I've been doing into like ancient Scandinavian things, it's like I'm also learning that inversion many times is used for the good guys to signal the other good guys too. Like, it doesn't matter what side you're on. It was a tactic that was used, it's interesting. And then of course it kind of, there's so many threads there, but so movie entertainment, I think there's a lot of that ancient history that's told in a lot of Disney movies are big on ancient history. Like Moana was big with the islands and everything. There's a lot there about ancient civilization.
Wayfarers and stuff. But there was some stuff when I was watching Big Trouble in Little China last night where he started talking about history, and I was like, oh shit, look at that little nugget they just slipped right in there that most people aren't even going to freaking recognize. That's going to be just space filler between scenes, because they were like walking and it was like between 2 different action scenes, and he's talking about history.
And we're too distracted by his majestic mullet to pay attention to what's happening in the storyline.
I mean, how can you not be, right? It is Kurt Russell.
What's his line? He's like, I only trust a man as far as I can see, or something. I can't remember, but man, I only drive as fast as I can see. That's what it was.
You know what the best part about that movie is? Kim Cattrall. God, I had the biggest crush on Kim Cattrall when she was in her prime, and then you see her in modern day, like, what the hell happened?
I watched Porky's recently because of something that Matt from the Great
Lassie.
Deception. Yeah. I watched that because of something that he posted about the intro of that movie, and there's a radio like alarm that comes on, and it starts talking about the firmament. And so I was like, oh shit. And I started watching Porky's, and Kim Cattrall is Lassie. And it's just like, oh shit. I forgot that's her.
Seeing actors in obscure places, man. I remember when I saw Helen Hunt in an after-school special about LSD.
Now, do you think that was like, I've had theories like when actors get in trouble, they have to do like PSAs and shit, like that's their community service. It's
Public
like, okay,
shame ritual.
Yeah,
probably,
okay,
yeah.
or something like that. But what if it's just like they got caught drinking and driving, or doing blow in a freaking bathroom of some expensive bar restaurant or something, and they go to court, and the judge is like, you know what, I got something for you. You're gonna do after school specials.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, didn't Tom Hanks just do that? America's Dad had to promote Biden as being a good choice for president, and it was literally a word what he did for The Simpsons.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that was in the Simpsons movie. The government
I'm Tom
lost
Hanks.
all their credibility, so they're borrowing some of mine.
Oh my!
That shit's so creepy. Man, I think we're gonna have plenty to talk about on this series, man. This is gonna be a blast. We're gonna, and with October right around the corner, we're going to have to do something horrific for our first episode. I believe we have something lined up anyway, so it'll be great.
We do have something, but if we do 2 a month, and we can sneak one in right before Halloween and do like a special Halloween episode.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also doing a live on Halloween night. That'll be fun.
It's gonna be Halloween. Halloween's like on a Monday or something.
It is a Monday. Yeah. Tis a Monday, the moon day.
Yeah, so that would be hard to do. Now we could release it on Halloween.
Yeah, we could do it that way. So
for sure.
Just release it on as a Halloween special. Record it the weekend before.
And hey, shameless plug for I am gonna plug my live show, but like shameless plug to Todd Cameron, author Todd Cameron. Reach out and find out his books. He does an RJ McReady origin story called Snowblind. It's fucking amazing. It shows how he ends up in Antarctica at Outpost 31 and everything. But even cooler is what he's releasing on October 31st, which is Fragments of the Outpost. 12 short stories, all in one book, all with the off-screen plot points that occur that are really mysterious. And there's a lot of different theories about what time everything happened, what sequence of events this happened. So he's created these 12 short stories surrounding all of this backdrop that isn't explained directly in the movie and how things progressed. And so that's going to be really awesome. He's an excellent author. I had him on recently. And so he's going to be coming back for that live event to kind of give an overview and talk to us about that. So that should be really cool. For any Thing fans out there, this is a real treat. He's also the curator behind outpost31.com, which is probably one of the biggest and most intense fan sites I've ever seen, like for the Thing specifically. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Awesome. I do. I follow the Kurt Army on Instagram, and it's always just like Kurt Russell memes.
Hell yeah.
It's pretty rad.
So as an Australian, I have to follow Saint Mel Gibson. He's my go-to. Bird on a wire.
That's
Mel Gibson rules.
We'll dive into some very on the
Mad Max.
Dude,
hell yeah.
Conspiracy theory.
Yes. So much.
Yeah.
So much.
Talk about a movie that's
that's too on the nose, Bob. Come on.
It's so good. It is right on the nose, but yet there's so much in there because conspiracy theory wasn't really looked at the way it's looked at now. If a movie came out today called Conspiracy Theory, it would be all like purposely to discredit everything and make people look like shit. Where you'll watch that movie And the undertone of it is take what this character's saying seriously. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it.
He was right.
But even looking for the things that aren't being spoken about, like it's clearly a conspiracy theory film. So we need to look for things that we aren't noticeable in general. Like it could be ancient technology being spoken about or referenced.
And also, his offhand comments or the things, the articles on the walls in his apartment, this and that. You know what I mean? It's not just about the fake conspiracy that they're talking about.
Not the stuff that's in your face.
Yeah. Plus, they are talking about MK Ultra, and they talk about it right on its face, which it's nuts. So then you get into that white hat versus black hat, maybe directly right up the whole chain of command. Throughout Hollywood, it's both of these things. Superhero movies are to promote the state, and then all these other kind of movies are basically to promote the rebel, promote the outcast, promote the underdog.
Right. It's always to promote that division because who was it? Was it Lenin or Mussolini? I think it was one of them that said the best way to beat your opposition is to be it.
Yeah, I can't remember who that was.
It
but
was
it's a communist idea.
It's a comment about controlled opposition.
But Star Wars is hugely popular in the Middle East because those people view the Empire as America and they're the rebels. They identify with the people that are in the fight.
And that kind of seems like what George was setting up when he framed all these different groups. It's like, well, here's the sand people.
It's far too accurate for sand people.
Yeah, man. I mean, pretty crazy how he did that. And Star Wars is a whole nother level. Like maybe we could have some guests on for some certain things that may be too intricate for us to just because I have a friend that if we got into some Kubrick stuff, he'd be great to have on. We got a lot of weird ties.
My buddy that actually produces my show, he's a huge movie buff and has a classic cult horror flick movie podcast called Not For Everyone.
Nice. That sounds
y'all go
great.
Check that out. It's freaking amazing.
Definitely.
It is such a good, if you like obscure kind of horror B flicks or whatever, go check out that podcast because it's stellar. It's still to this day one of my favorites and one of the ones where I'm texting him like, dude, when are you coming out with another show? Like
that's awesome.
In a couple weeks, bro. Like, come on, man. Drop an episode.
Yeah, we need movie podcasts that are like thinking the way we do because there's a couple that I've reached out to that I loved, but they look at me and my podcast and what I talk about, and they're like, we're not talking to this fucking guy. And I'm like, man, we like the same movies. That does not cut it. Okay. And so there was one big one that I tried to reach out to, and I even went to see them live one time. And so I was trying to throw it all in like, hey, come on guys. And they wanted nothing to do with me. It's like, we need more podcasts that are willing to be, that talk about all this underworld shit.
Yeah. Yeah. It'd be freaking, I love,
or just not even like
that stuff.
We don't even have to, it doesn't have to be a specific conspiracy theory or anything, just like to the appreciation of film while also being fucking open-minded to what's going on, Right. I mean, it's the same thing with The Matrix back in 2000 or 99 or whatever, when that came out. It was like, don't you guys see, this is about this is about this, even if we were wrong at the time because we were thinking too materially, I was thinking it was all about the takeover of machines, but it's way fucking deeper than that, but even on that level, people were like, what are you talking about? It's a fucking movie,
Yep. Yeah.
Well, Bob, we can attest to that the Jim Carrey, oh my God, the Jim Carrey movies that we watched cinematically are just written beautifully. Like the shots, the camera angles, everything just worked. Like take away the things that we saw, they are still great movies in their own right.
Hell yeah. And art is not some ultimate psyop against us. Like, I think the idea of like, oh, I don't watch any shows or movies at all anymore, I'm too aware for that. It's like, well, what the fuck are you here for, man? Like, we're in the contemporary world. Okay. Let's remember how to enjoy ourselves and not let anything sweep us off our feet and take a hold of us.
I try to still enjoy stuff, but I still catch things that are things that I'm enjoying. Like, I don't know if y'all saw it, but like we were watching Ink Masters, which is a tattoo show, and like it just scanned by this dude's head, and I paused it, and my wife goes, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Wait, I think I saw something." And I rewound it and paused it, and this dude's plugs, his little ear things, his ear plugs, were freaking Freemason signs. And I was just like, "What the fuck, man?" Like,
but what does that attest to? Does that say there's Freemasons everywhere, or that they run Ink Masters specifically?
I mean, come on. I have a Freemason watch right here.
Illuminati confirmed.
Yeah.
At some point, the Freemasons.
And then to really throw you guys off, my stress ball is from Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. Yeah, so
you hit the nail on the head though, Andy. Like, I had a message from someone who listened to one of our episodes, Bob, and it was along the lines of, "I don't know why you waste your time with this, because I stopped watching mainstream media and films years ago and I'm better for it." And I replied back, "Shit, you must be fun at parties."
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, good for you, man. Like,
I mean, I'm not keeping up with every pop movie that fucking comes out that's aimed at 25-year-olds. Obviously not. But like the art of film, the art of storytelling, like, fuck, man, it doesn't matter what age we're in. It's going to look different, but it's still that same essence that comes from us. They can hijack shit. They're never going to create something originally evil. They're going to only take what's good and strip it of what's good. You know what I mean? So movies and even the idea of like, oh, well, horror movies and sci-fi, it's all like low vibrational. It's just putting that bad energy in there. Like, admittedly, I need a few better arguments against that, but I don't agree with it. You know, like, I don't feel that I'm more negative or less able to manifest my fucking dreams or whatever because I'm attracted to violent video games and I know that that's kind of a weird stance to take in this community most of the time, but I think there's something to it, you know?
I think we need to be able to turn our brains off and just enjoy shit, or make fun of it and mock it and
the yin yang of life,
and
right?
Even make fun of ourselves through this journey too. It's like, look how silly we can kind of seem with our over analysis of literally fucking everything.
Man.
And then take that kind of self-criticism and turn it into a movie podcast where we're just kind of making fun of shit. Like,
absolutely, man.
Why? Like it's all about energy anyway, so we might as well be having fun. You know, if you take life too seriously, man, you just like, and I've been there, like, you're just going to be black pilled all the time, and it's just going to be negative constantly. And that's good. Ooh, cool. You're super woke and you don't watch shit. Yeah, I bet you're real fucking negative all the time too. Like,
and yeah, we're not necessarily talking to the guys that don't have TVs because they're like living off their land and off grid and everything. Good for you. That's fine. You're not listening to this anyway.
Like, I want to be off grid at some point in time too. But
yeah,
it
doesn't. But I also love connecting to this.
Right, but
we're
acquiring like old DVDs and VHSs, so like when we are off grid, all we need is like a DVD player or a VHS player, and we can fucking play movies and shit. We don't need internet. Like,
hell yeah.
And we'll look at them and we'll watch them, and my wife and I will see symbolism in a lot of them, and
yeah,
the kids will just be oblivious to all of it. And
your kids will get to relive the fun of hiring a movie, but they'll go into their own little library.
Dude,
the choices. That was the best thing as a kid.
I'd love to create like a room in the house that's like a fake Blockbuster.
Dude, that'd be so funny. That'd be awesome.
It'd be so cool to have it set up where my kids could like walk through a couple aisles and be like, "Oh, I want to watch this tonight." Oh, somebody rented it already.
I remember the beginning of the end was my buddy worked at Blockbuster, and we were big movie freaks, and we're like, "Oh, sweet!" And you get like 7 free movies a week to take out. That's awesome. Well, he just ripped he took out like 7. They started to trust him, so he'd just take home like fucking 25 movies, and he would rip every single one of them. And he had just these gigantic leather bound CD booklets of just 300 each, 300 slots each.
Yep.
Like 4 of them, all movies. He just had a Blockbuster in his room at that point. I'm just my God, this is definitely the beginning of the end of that era, and now you can't own movies on the internet. Like, I have tried my best to find websites where I can literally download a movie.
Good luck.
like, nothing attached, and there's no service. People
That's
have been
what,
like,
dude,
oh, well,
just
you
buy-
just have to keep the app on your computer. No.
Dude.
And it's like, well, you can watch offline. Oh, only through the app? What the fuck? Like, it's
the
not a
movie
file on my computer.
Dude, you can find the movies on either like Etsy or Amazon, even a lot of the time.
Like the
Or
physical
like
copies.
eBay. Just buy physical copies. You can get them for
Absolutely.
like $2 or $3. Man.
Oh, it's so cheap.
You
Yeah,
know,
I
like
bet.
it's so cheap that you can just get a ton of movies. We went to some stupid thrift shop recently, and they had tons of stuff. And like we bought some Disney VHS movies for the purpose of reselling them. We got them for 99 cents each. Looked online, and they sell anywhere from $20 to $100 each.
Nice.
And it's just like, man, shit,
that's genius, man.
Yeah, so I mean, you could have a whole freaking income stream just buying cheap movies, and it can, and generally, like, we got 2 copies of Disney, like Bambi or something, I think, or Dumbo. And we got 2 copies. If we wanted to, we could keep one and sell one.
Yeah.
And
It's
they
like
actually retain value because they go back in the vault like every 10 years and they're not available.
Well,
Yeah,
I
those
don't know if
disappear.
that's still true. Does that still
Yeah.
happen on
I think Disney Plus
Disney Plus?
Yeah, there's I think they keep a
Really?
strict which ones are
Okay.
out there. But it's once removed from books, right? It's like it's not books, obviously, but you're holding on to like a physical format of information, rather than relying on this invisible digital force that could be wiped out at any moment.
I don't like having anything
now,
in that stuff, man.
We could expand outward. We're not gonna, but we could expand outward to how, like, well, we're all, even the physical stuff, we're all just holding on to shit that's gonna disappear, and even our history. And
Dude, I try to live as little of a materialistic life as possible.
Oh man,
now money's needed.
I'm leaving I'm leaving behind lots of toys.
Like, I just don't I don't care to, like, at one point in time, like, I wanted certain things. I wanted a boat and a motorcycle, and I've had a boat before, and I've had a motorcycle, and I don't have them now. And like, I'm just like, all right, well, that's fine. I got my truck, and it runs, and I'm too old to change, like, sizes. Like, physically, I'm going to be the size I am now forever.
Yeah.
So I don't need to buy new clothes. I don't, like,
for the most part, no, unless something gets
I don't
destroyed.
need anything. Like, I don't have a desire for anything except like land. Like, that's the only
I'm with
thing
you
I
there.
want at this point in time is just fucking land. I don't care about clothes or cars or any of that shit anymore. But
That's
if I
what,
had some old movies, which we're starting to collect for my kids to watch,
hell yeah.
And
if eventually we get a ton of fucking land and have a bunch of families growing up together, with similar mindsets, at least separated by some personal woods around the houses, big communal garden, fucking huge. Then you have Friday night movie nights, and we bring back the fucking drive-in at our own property. You know what I mean?
Man,
that's the way to do it.
I was in a group for a while.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, that was trying to figure out a place for an intentional community and how much land and how it would be done legally,
it's delicate.
Who would own what, and
it's
like,
very
who would
difficult.
pony up the money, and there were a lot of people in there, but I basically got ostracized for freaking being a flat earther, and I was like, well, if this is the way y'all are gonna treat me, then I'm out. Like, I don't.
You're like, I grow tomatoes the same as you.
Yeah, it doesn't.
When you cut
like,
me, do I not bleed?
Not a fucking pedophile. Like,
seriously, I'm okay with if, like, we get a group together and there's Catholics and non-Catholics.
It's
like who gives a fuck?
There's only 2 things that we have to agree on: don't hurt people and don't take their shit.
Boom.
That's it.
And protect each other
for the community.
Maybe protect each other. Maybe throw the third one in as protect one another. Maybe that's a tough one. That's a tough one, because then it's like the seeds of the civilization.
Do that because protecting each other protects yourself.
Exactly.
And so through self-preservation, you would want to protect, your community. And
what if your person that's really the most knowledgeable about permaculture is like under attack? Like, you're gonna protect that person because you don't know. You know what I mean?
We could even get it to, like, to bring it back to a movie. Like, within a couple generations, we could have something like M. Night Shyamalan's fucking Village, Where
Oh
like
yeah.
the people don't even realize that they live in the modern world, and would just tell them like, no, there's monsters out there, and you don't want to go out there because they'll fucking eat you and they'll steal your babies, and let's just stay here. It's fine. We got a garden and like running water and shit. It's fine. We're good. We don't need to go in the woods where the monsters are. We'll just stay here.
Right.
So I'm thinking you go back even a little bit further, and it's like Rohan from Lord of the Rings, and you see a beacon lit. The neighbors are in trouble! Quick!
Yeah, man.
That too.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll get into so much.
Like smoke signals or certain, flashing of lights like an SOS.
So yeah, this is the first installment of Conspiracy Theater 3000, and
Hell
I fucking
yes, dude.
love the name. And it's funny because I'm literally looking at Netflix right now just to see if there's any movies that catch my eye to talk about, and Mystery Science Theater is just right here. Obvious ode to these guys because we are those jackasses that are going to kind of make fun of movies and talk about them in our particular light. Yes,
like just be light and fun with it while just exposing how obvious they make shit.
Absolutely.
My mind is absolutely spinning with this conversation and all the possibilities.
Yeah,
I need
man.
someone. Can we narrow it down to what's our first film going to be? Do we have any ideas that are floating around?
I'm still really wanting to do They Live, just because it would be
Rowdy Roddy Piper.
We might as well get it out of the
so
way.
good.
It almost
I do
feels
love
like
it. It's a
that.
good
Like,
one.
it's no offense to it. It's like we just gotta do it. Why not
Well, it's
fucking
like
do it up front?
Not gonna lie, I watch it once a month, so it's kind of like a big favorite of mine.
That's
Do
kind of
you?
how I feel about The Thing. So I like your John Carpenter minded movie
it.
experience.
All right, I haven't watched it since probably the 90s.
Oh man.
So like it was
So
one of
that-
those ones that we would get fucked up and watch in high school.
Yeah, we will have to dive deep because there's so many beautiful themes in that movie. Like the fist fight itself and what it represents and everything. Just there's so many layers to it. But
The
I gotta go
bomb.
to bed.
Yeah.
So I love you
Yeah.
guys. And I think
I
this is gonna be
told-
fucking phenomenal. It's definitely an upgrade from what Bob and I were doing originally and had in mind. And I'm sure it's gonna be an upgrade from what you guys were doing, which was already awesome.
Yeah.
So I
Yep.
think this is gonna be really fucking great. The trifecta, movie nerds unite.
Dude, it's gonna be so
Three beardsmen.
The three beardsmen.
three bearded white people. Like this,
Yep.
this is like a leftist nightmare.
The
Like
fairies.
three
the fairy
bearded
tales.
white guys talking about conspiracy theory movies. Like,
And two of them are gingers. That's just going to annoy so many
Oh,
people.
Fuck yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't show through the video camera here, but I have a lot of red going on. That's kind of like undertone. So it's basically like three. We're all Irish fucks or
we're all
Nordic
descendants of
Vikings.
The Vikings.
Yep.
Or the Nephilim. Or
Them
whatever
damn
it
white
is.
people.
Goddamn
Yeah.
white people. On that
All right.
note,
Yeah, on that
guys,
note.
guys, this has been great. Of course, I told my wife it was going to be 30 minutes, and it's coming up on 2 hours, as these things are going to do. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
why don't we tell everybody where we can find you guys? Drew, let's start with you, buddy.
Yeah, I'm Drew Missen. You can find me at You're Missing the Point podcast on Podbean and Apple. On Instagram as Missing the Point. And yeah, reach out to me, give me suggestions of shows, and let me know what you think.
It was really great to meet you finally, too, man. This is
Yeah,
gonna be
you too,
great.
brother.
And I'm Andy from the Deep Share podcast. You can find me at the Deep Share on social media. You can reach me at contact@thedeepshare.com. I'm on Patreon. I'm on YouTube. Yeah, I'm doing lots of shows on ancient history, consciousness, all kinds of shit.
Yeah, and I think that's I think that's why we mesh well, is we all kind of do shows that are just all over the place. It's kind of, we don't really specify one topic on any of our shows. We all have similar things, but different ways of looking at it. And
Hell yeah.
that's going to make this show awesome and fun. I, of course, am Moral Bob. You can find my show hidden in plain sight on all your podcatchers. I'm on Instagram at the moral, or no, that one's way gone. At the hidden pod, at space is fake and gay, and at _ everything is fake and gay _ again, because I tried to make just at everything is fake and gay, and it let me, and then was like immediately like, nope, can't do it. And then Instagram created their own at spaces at everything is fake and gay, and it's just a blank page.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But other than that, man, we are starting this new journey, and it's going to be amazing. I've got two wonderful dudes coming with me on this, and you guys look forward to the new Conspiracy Theater 3000. We'll probably be dropping our first show in the next couple weeks. So, guys, this has been a pleasure. Thanks for your time. Yeah, I think They Live's a good one to start with.
They Live, yes.
But yeah, let's
care.
all get to our nights, and Drew, if you can go enjoy the rest of your Sunday afternoon, man.
Will do, mate. Thanks.
All right, fellas.
Thanks, everybody.
I appreciate it.
See you guys.
See ya.
See ya.
Life goes on without you.